Hey, Hound Dogs, I'm David Hankins.
I'm Paul Hankins.
And you're on the air with Power Squared. This week we're doing something a little different again, Metalocalypse.
Yeah.
And Paul's going to talk about the new Dethklok album that you've already heard.
Yes.
Even though it hasn't officially been released.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just as a preview, that Mondo accidentally sent some copies early, including mine, so I got to listen to it.
Okay, but this is a culmination of, there's been a long time between albums too, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so let's...
It's like at least a decade between albums, I think.
So I'm sure that there's a really good explanation for that. But tell us, how did you get involved with, I guess Metalocalypse is the show that they're from?
Yeah. So, I was kind of aware of Metalocalypse in high school.
Uh-huh.
But I don't think we started watching the show until a little later. It must have been like later high school when we actually watched it. But it was later high school or early community college. We got into it when we realized that it's probably dumb, but when we realized Metalocalypse and Dethklok were related.
Ah, okay. So have you heard of Dethklok before Metalocalypse?
I think I had heard about them separately, but I didn't know anything about Metalocalypse at the time, so I didn't make that connection
okay, that's
until
fine.
later. But I'm glad I did. So Metalocalypse was an Adult Swim show created by Brendan Small. It's about basically the world's most popular death metal band. It's like, I think it's something like, imagine the Beatles, but they're like 1,000 times more, 100 or 1,000 times more popular. Like to the point where the band itself is a world economy.
Right. And it's there's a lot of, I assume there's a lot of music, there's also like humor in it too.
Yeah, it's a comedy.
Okay.
A lot of it has to do with the antics that the band get up into.
Right.
But what is interesting is that Brendan Small is a musician himself. Each episode had a lot of the episodes at least had like an original song, even if we only heard like a snippet of it.
Right.
And he recorded all that himself.
Right. All the parts and everything. Yeah.
Well,
all the musical parts.
Yeah. I'm not entirely sure about like how much of it he did himself on the show, but I assume it must have been all of it at that point.
Right.
Because with the when he toured the music under Dethklok, he had touring members,
right.
And so as the albums went on, more of the touring members got involved with the actual production until at this point it's like all of them.
Okay, fine. One of my, I must admit I really didn't watch the show, but
right.
There was that one little, I think it was on a record or something, or an album.
Yeah.
Where it was, I'm in here now. That was really fun. Breaking strings, I'm in here now.
Yeah.
It was really funny.
And the cool part is the music is actually good.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the show.
Yeah.
So how many seasons did it run?
It ran for 4 seasons. Happened to have all of them right here for those watching. The first 2 seasons were only on DVD, but the other 2 seasons, 3 and 4, were also on Blu-ray uncensored.
Ooh, so was there a lot of cursing in it?
Swearing, some visual stuff, like nudity.
Nudity, okay. So you said
nudity that gets anyway, the nudity that gets censored
right.
on TV.
It's an animated show, right?
Yeah. It's mostly swearing that gets censored.
Okay.
Anyway, because we could get them on Blu-ray, we did.
Right. I understand that.
And then there was also the last thing that had come out was Doomstar Requiem, a clock opera, which is an animated rock opera. Unfortunately, that never got a physical release here until the complete. You're right.
Yeah. Good.
It never got a physical release in America until the complete series set that came out recently. Either came out, recent release of that. Getting the time mixed up a little bit, but and even then that's on DVD only. When the special first aired, there was an Australian Blu-ray that I now regret not getting because good luck finding it. But anyway, what's also interesting is that as the show progresses, the lore that's in the show gets more pronounced.
Okay.
And Char and I rewatched the show probably a few years ago. Then see. Oh yeah, just gotta note the censors are guitar riffs.
Okay. Oh, I see. That makes
So
sense.
they censor the swearing. It's a
Or something like that. Yeah. Okay.
anyway. We rewatched the show a few years ago, and we noticed that the lore had been there since the beginning.
Okay.
However, seasons 1 and 2 are generally more comedy focused,
Right.
and then even during season 2, the story starts to get more serious in general.
Okay.
Although again, still very much a comedy. And then season 3 was probably the most story driven because it had 22-minute episodes instead of 11.
Okay.
And then season 4 went back to the 11-minute format, and it balanced the serious story and the comedy until the very last episode, where it actually spells out lore that had been going on, and we learn exactly why the tribunal had been watching Dethklok this whole time.
And what had they been?
Okay, so
If you've not seen the show, don't listen.
it's actually kind of there from the beginning, but basically Dethklok, there's this prophecy about a group of 5. They're supposed to stop this evil, and Dethklok are the band that are Dethklok are the prophesized band.
Okay.
And so the tribunal had been patiently just watching Dethklok and waiting to confirm that they were indeed the band from the prophecy.
Right. Okay.
And during season 4, that gets confirmed. And we also meet the Church of the Black Clock, which is a group.
Okay.
Which is a group of it was basically a group that had been waiting for Dethklok's arrival.
Okay. I guess that sounds kind of like Big Finish kind of story.
Yeah.
Right.
Then Doomstar Requiem continues off of the episode Church of the Black Clock, and it didn't end the show, but there was supposed to be a season 5 after that. And then there's this whole thing about it, but basically the short version is the person in charge of Adult Swim didn't want to make more.
Right.
So it didn't go through. It was suspected that Brendan Small had secretly ended the story with Galacticon 2, but that wasn't officially confirmed one way or the other.
Okay.
I'm in the camp that would suggest there is evidence that says yes,
Okay.
but again, can't make a definitive statement.
Right.
So although we didn't get season 5, they're going to release. Actually, by the time this goes up on YouTube, it will have been released. Army of the Doomstar, which is a finale movie.
Okay. So this has been going on for a long time, it seems.
Yeah.
And it seems, so it's been kind of, were the first 4 seasons kind of all together, or has it been spread out over all this time?
It was spread out over a few years. And it's been about a decade since. It's been about a decade since Doomstar Requiem.
So in the show, there's 5 members of the band, right?
Yeah.
And who can you tell us who the characters are? If you remember, I'm not trying to put you on the spot. I just
Right. Well, the virtual band. Nathan Explosion, Squiscar Squig Elf, Toki Wartooth, Murderface, and Pickles the drummer.
Okay. All right. Sounds like a fun group of people. Okay. But the real band is made up of real musicians, obviously, because
Yeah.
those are fake. Do the musicians in Dethklok play themselves on the show, or is it all one guy doing all the voices?
There's 2 guys doing the voices.
Okay.
Brendan Small and I don't know how to pronounce the last name, but I'm just gonna say Tommy. I think Blaka.
Okay.
Or again, however you. Hopefully, I didn't butcher that.
Please forgive us.
But they did the voices of the 5 band members.
Okay.
Then the real band, I only remember Brendan Small and I think you pronounce it Gene Hoglan.
Okay.
Gene Hoglan has been called. I think he's been called the Human Drum Machine.
Okay. Well, that would be it's an impressive title.
Yeah.
Okay. So, did the albums come out at the same time that the show was? I mean, did they do an album in the show and an album came out, or has it been just sort of separate?
Well, not all the music that's featured in the show gets put onto the Death albums.
Okay.
The Death albums are sort of full versions of some of the tracks.
Okay, so you've got more than 4, I'll say, CDs there. It'll be like physical.
Yeah. Because I have, for 3 of them, I also have the deluxe edition.
Okay. I was fooled. Okay, so do you want to talk about the music, or is it too soon? Or
I can't talk about the music.
Okay.
I'll also mention I managed to get all the seasons and all of the CDs except for Dethalbum IV, signed by Brendan Small.
That's pretty cool. And this is where at Comic-Con?
Yeah,
or?
Comic-Con.
Was he there one time, or has he been there many times?
He was there twice.
Okay, and you got everything signed in those 2 times?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the original Death album and the deluxe edition.
Okay.
It's music. It's mostly music from season 1.
Okay.
The deluxe edition has a second disc with additional tracks, including the Duncan Hill's coffee jingle, and that bit you mentioned, those Dethklok gets in tune.
Okay, I like that bit. Is there a song that was supposed, their Stairway to Heaven or their Sandman? I mean, is there a big song they're supposed to be known for, or many songs they're supposed to be known for?
I don't know. I guess the closest thing would be Thunder Horse was in Guitar Hero.
Okay.
But there's no like one.
Okay, I just big bands usually have something that always people point to. Okay, cool. So did you like those albums?
Yes.
Okay.
Like pretty much all of them.
Okay.
Uh,
are the lyrics kind of fun? Are they serious lyrics, or is it a combination, or?
It depends.
Okay.
There's definitely still a good amount of humor, so that keeps it fun.
Okay.
I guess I'll also specify Dethklok is melodic death metal,
Okay.
which is death metal but with the melody of Iron Maiden.
Okay. All right.
That is actually the definition.
No, that's fine. I'm not doubting you.
So we have Dethalbum 2
Okay.
and the deluxe edition. The deluxe edition has a bonus DVD with footage from the 2008 tour.
Okay, so the band does tour.
Yeah. Then Dethalbum IV and the deluxe. The deluxe edition has a documentary, music videos, and it also came with a patch
Okay.
that I haven't applied to anything.
Right.
And then there's Doomstar Requiem.
Rock opera.
Yeah, clock opera.
Clock opera. Sorry.
This one is basically like the special in audio form.
Okay. Right. Oh yeah. Okay. Makes sense.
And Dethalbum IV. I can't show you anything. I can't show anything except the front cover.
Okay. They asked you not to.
Yeah, Mondo asked people not to.
Okay. Makes sense. So do you have a favorite one of those?
It's a little hard to say. I think Brendan Small manages to. I think with pretty much every one of those releases, Brendan Small manages to continue improving.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have a specific favorite, although there are songs from each album that I like can't get out of my head.
Right. Okay. Was he in a band before this, or is he just this is like his introduction into culture?
He did music before, but I don't know that he was in it. I don't know everything about Brendan Small.
Okay, that's fine. I
But,
was just curious.
I know he did music before, like in Home Movies, which was his previous show.
Okay.
And he has played live before, but I think Dethklok is the band that he would be known for.
All right.
That project.
Okay. So, do you want to talk about this new album as much as you can?
Yeah. Right. So, Dethalbum IV. Of course, when we got it, we got it in the mail. We tried to listen to it as quick, get to listening to it as quickly as possible. Then we ended it, the first listen through, we were also reading the lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
So then we listened to it a second time to pay even more attention to the music
Mm-hmm.
and how that went together. Dethalbum IV definitely sounds like Dethklok. It sounds like Dethklok never stopped.
Right.
Like
Doesn't seem like a reunion. It just seems like another album.
yeah, you guys say it feels like nothing happened.
Right.
It sounded like Brendan Small learned from his experience with the Galacticon project
Okay.
that he had been doing in the meantime as a solo. Admittedly, I haven't heard Galacticon 1,
Okay.
but I did hear Galacticon 2, which also sounded like Dethklok because it had all the personnel.
Okay.
So I can't spoil too much about this, but like about half of the album is more humor based, and then the second half of the album, the lyrics gave me a little more. I had to think a little bit more about the lyrics because it sounded like some of them might have been related to Army of the Doomstar, but I can't confirm that without actually watching it.
Right.
But it's hard to be too spoiler free with
Okay.
this.
All right.
Anyway, it's definitely again Brendan Small improved even more with this. I thought I laughed a lot when I was reading the lyrics.
Okay. Good.
And then when listening to it for the music, I could really appreciate how far he had come from the first Death album.
Right.
I think it's too early to say it's like whether or not it's the best Death album.
Okay.
But I keep thinking the most recent Brendan Small recording is his best one.
Okay.
So
He seems to be improving.
yeah.
So you're actually going to be seeing them live.
Yes.
But before we talk about that, this is not your first opportunity to see them live.
No.
You want to tell us about the first time?
Yes.
It actually didn't happen, I guess.
Yeah, so I was in community college. Dethklok was supposed to play with Lamb of God and Gojira at the Gibson Amphitheater, but that didn't. I was really hyped for that, but it ended up not happening because Randy Blythe from Lamb of God got arrested.
Yeah, in Europe.
In the Czech Republic,
right.
I believe. I think he was found not guilty.
Right.
But anyway, this was back when Ticketmaster would let you have physical tickets. So we still have the physical tickets from that show. That didn't happen.
And when was it supposed to happen?
Let's see, 2012.
2012. Wow. And so, Lickety Split, another concert tour is coming in 2023.
Yeah. They're touring with Baby Metal. So it's the Dethklok tour.
Okay. Do you know anything about Baby Metal?
Not too much, but they are a Japanese band that combines metal with J-pop.
Okay.
I've only heard one song so far, Gimme Chocolate, that I really liked.
Okay. All right.
I was like, okay, I get it.
And where are they playing? When?
I just heard they're playing in October at SoFi.
Right. Okay. All right.
So that should be fun.
Yeah, it should be for you. You and your brother going to this one. Yeah. Okay, that'd be your second time to go SoFi.
Yeah.
Right. Because next weekend is Metallica.
Yeah, I'm 72.
Right. So that'll be. Speaking of which, we won't be doing the show live next Friday. It'll be Julia taking it over again for another artist takeover.
Yeah.
So anything more you want to say about Dethklok or Metalocalypse or?
See, although my favorite band overall is Metallica, Dethklok is probably my favorite death metal band.
Okay.
Because it combines amazing technical ability and songwriting, or amazing technical ability with funny songwriting. And Brendan Small knows the right combination, knows when to be serious and when to have fun.
Right.
And you can really feel the passion behind the music.
That's good. That's a very complimentary thing to say.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
I think that's about it.
Okay.
So if you're watching this on YouTube, leave a like, subscribe if you want to see more. Leave a comment below if you have any thoughts about Dethklok or Metalocalypse, or by the time this goes up, your thoughts on Dethalbum IV.
All right. So until next time, I'm David Hankins.
I'm Paul Hankins.
And you've been on the air with Power Squared.